affected by Typhoon Doksuri, Beijing and its surrounding areas experienced a catastrophic flood resulting in significant loss of life and property. The CCP concealed the true death toll. To protect the capital and the Xiong'an New Area, authorities released floodwaters without warning, causing widespread suffering in Zhuozhou and its neighboring regions. The CCP sacrificed the people, causing public outrage. From the evening of July 29 to August 2, 2023, heavy rainfall struck the Beijing-Tianjin-Hebei region in China, with Fangshan, Mentougou, and the western mountains of Beijing being hit the hardest by flooding. The floodwaters surged through streets, destroying houses and submerging vehicles, leaving people stranded and even corpses lying on the streets. The scenes were horrifying.
Does anyone know this person?
You see, several cars came rushing down. My goodness, the water has gotten even bigger. What should we do? It's really scary.
In the images, each car engulfed by floodwaters has people inside or nearby, indicating that these cars encountered the flood while in motion.
Your dad and your grandma, can't you find them? You should also look on the roof. I can't find them now. Hurry and find a safe place. This is completely flattened. This is completely flattened.
This car in the water, what did it go through? It feels like it rolled down. It's coming down from the mountain. It's so terrifying. Look, it's completely deformed. You can't even tell what brand of car this is anymore. Look, it's a Jinping van, right? It got twisted like a twist.
Official reports stated that Beijing experienced continuous rainfall for 3 days and nights, recording the highest amount of rainfall in 140 years, with some areas receiving up to 744.8 millimeters. While the Beijing authorities emphasized the severity of the natural disaster, they selectively ignored the human factors behind the catastrophe. The newly constructed Lugo Bridge, funded with billions of yuan by the Beijing authorities, collapsed during the flood, while the 830-year-old Lugo Bridge remained intact.
Hello everyone, it's now July 31st, 2023. Look, the bridge over the small Qinghe River in Zhuozhou has collapsed. There were originally 8 bridge spans, but now only 5 remain. The other 3 have been washed away. When it collapsed just now, there were about 6 or 7 cars on the bridge, and they'd been swept away by the water. The water is getting bigger now, and the depth is about 7 to 8 meters, almost reaching the top of the bridge. Can you see? It's almost level with the bridge. The bridge is collapsing. The bridge is collapsing.
Tiananmen Square turned into a water world, with waves surging.
Look at the heavy rain in Tiananmen Square.
In the southern part of Beijing, Nanyuan Airport was flooded, leaving planes submerged in water and numerous passengers stranded. The Zitanju Hotel in Mentougou, costing 800 million yuan and offering rooms with a peak price of 15,000 yuan per night, was washed away by mountain torrents after only 1 year of operation.
It's completely washed away. Completely washed away. This is the road coming down. It's broken. The cars are still in the ditch.
The ground in front of the Jingxi Joy City shopping mall caved in during the heavy rain, leaving large sinkholes on the surface. This rainfall exposed the true nature of CCP's massive projects and image-driven initiatives. Even the wealthiest areas are not immune to tofu drag construction. Netizens mocked the CCP's grand infrastructure projects as less stable than a bird's nest. The Forbidden City, a treasure of traditional Chinese culture symbolizing the nation's prosperity, saw water levels rise to calf height. Netizens discussed how the Forbidden City had not experienced flooding for 600 years, but the CCP's alterations to its drainage system led to its current state. Originally endowed with abundant water resources, Beijing's water system was well developed, and water shortages were rare after the Ming Dynasty's construction of water reservoirs. However, in recent years, Beijing has faced both water shortages and frequent flooding. This is a consequence of the CCP's interference with nature. After the construction of reservoirs on the Yongding River in the 1950s, the water system was disrupted, causing the annual flow of the Yongding River to decrease from 2 billion cubic meters to 300 million cubic meters. This resulted in severe water shortages in Beijing. In the 1980s, the CCP's pursuit of GDP led to the construction of high-rise buildings around Beijing's wetlands, damaging their natural water storage function. Poorly designed overpasses without advanced drainage systems created numerous depressions beneath them, causing inevitable flooding during heavy rainfall.
The flooding in Mentougou is possibly related to the sudden release of water from one of the 3 upstream reservoirs in Mentougou, or the sudden flood discharge of the 3 reservoirs. Otherwise, it wouldn't have generated such a massive water flow. No matter how heavy the rainfall, it couldn't create such a huge water flow that could even wash away trucks. This is due to the discharge of water from the reservoirs. Beijing's drainage system is arguably the best in China, but it's quite outdated compared to systems around the world. Its entire design is based on the framework passed down from the Soviets to the Chinese in the 1950s. The design of its stormwater flood prevention pipelines is essentially arranged to handle a rainfall of 36 millimeters per hour, which is Beijing's design standard. It's far behind the global advancements and hasn't kept up with the times. If you compare it with the drainage systems of Japan, the UK, Germany's Munich, and Cologne, it's significantly outdated.
Mr. Jean, a resident of Mentougou who grew up there, told the Epoch Times that the floods in Mentougou were caused by the release of water from multiple reservoirs. Officials released water not individually, but from multiple reservoirs combined with dams, resulting in the powerful force of the floodwaters sweeping everything downhill. The CCP's official media claimed that the heavy rainfall in Beijing resulted in 11 deaths. However, the public seriously questioned these death figures. Residents in the hardest-hit area of Mentougou revealed that some villages were nearly wiped out, with the death toll exceeding 200.
This is Zhuozhou in Fengsha County, Mentougou District. Look at this village. It's gone. Completely gone.
Some netizens disclosed that Mentougou had cut off signals to prevent residents from live streaming on site. Many have died. The ground is full of them. There is a 4-year-old child as well. Currently, I've seen at least 200 bodies. From August 1st to 2nd, Nia Yefeng, the secretary of the Hebei Provincial Committee, emphasized that Hebei should be the capital's moat guardian. He sacrificed the lives and homes of Hebei residents to protect his political career.
Regarding the flooding in Beijing, there are 2 main rivers involved. One is the Yongding River, which flows down through Mentougou. The other is the Zhuozhou River, passing through Fengshan, then through Zhuozhou to Baoding, and finally to Xiong'an. The level of protection for Xiong'an New Area is almost the same as that of Beijing. The current issue facing Zhuozhou is that it has to bear the responsibility of diverting water upstream for Xiong'an New Area. In Germany, for instance, during flooding, parks and golf courses are used as retention basins to minimize losses. It's not like the measures Beijing is currently taking, allowing floodwater to inundate farmland and houses, diverting the floodwater. This approach divides Chinese people into different levels, rather than utilizing nature to manage floodwaters.
家来看看，家没了。
Brothers and sisters, I've lived for 39 years, and I never imagined that a flood could be like this. The water in the center city is 3 to 4 meters deep. It's so scary, the kids are terrified. Brothers and sisters, if you can lend a hand, please do. I grew up near Baoding, and in my 39 years, I've never seen such a massive flood.
Zhuozhou, Hebei, suffered an unannounced release of floodwaters. A video shared by disaster victims exposed how local officials informed villagers to evacuate very late. Bureaucratic and corrupt practices made it difficult for villagers to receive disaster relief supplies.
I asked, the supplies in the warehouse can't be distributed within the village. You can only get them if you have a certificate issued at or above the township level, then come to collect.
On August 5th, Zhang Shua, a reporter from Southern Weekend, harshly criticized Zhuozhou officials for deceiving people to donate money during the disaster.
We received pleas for help from the locals, saying that 5,000 people have no food. However, yesterday, the party secretary of a town in Zhuozhou rejected our donation. The reason is simple. He doesn't want our involvement and insists that we hand over the supplies to him for distribution. I just want to say that leaders at all levels in Zhuozhou City deceive donations from the outside, but don't distribute within. They are only loyal to the party, yet know nothing when it comes to practical matters. They're worse than animals. Disasters are far less than man-made calamities.
A shipment of supplies from Beijing-Tianjin-Hebei intended to support Zhuozhou was meant to reach the hands of the disaster victims. The supplies arrived at the designated point of reception by the Zhuozhou government. There are also civilian rescue teams from other places that have come to Zhuozhou. The current situation in Zhuozhou is that nobody is taking care of the victims' food and shelter, and there's a lack of supplies. The driver delivering supplies from Beijing said he wanted to personally hand the supplies to the victims and the civilian rescue teams to deliver them to the front line. However, there was a conflict between the government reception point and the driver and the rescue team, and they were not allowed to give supplies to the victims. As a result, the shipment of supplies was brought back to Beijing.
We need bottled water, bread, milk, and instant noodles. We don't need expensive items. They're useless. As long as it can provide for our basic needs. Right now, people from 5 villages are staying on the same floor, and this is all the supplies we have. Only a few survivors left in Maxiton, who have now fled to the mountain. There are also those who can't move. Over 10 people are missing. Look, they have nowhere to go. They've lost everything. Their houses have collapsed, and all their crops are gone. Even getting food is a problem now. Look, they've lost everything. Uncle Lou got badly injured and can't move. He needs treatment, and there's a child too, you see. It's just these few people left. The survivors are all elderly, weak, sick, or disabled. The rest were swept away. Can't find anyone. Houses are gone. Whoever sees this, please come for rescue quickly.
The disaster not only affected Hebei's residents, but also severely damaged businesses. Southern Weekend reported that the library storage facility of Beijing Southwest Logistics Center in Zhuozhou was heavily hit. Ran Zijian, the CEO of Beijing Times Chinese, stated that their organization's storage facility of 8,000 square meters, containing 3.6 million books, was almost destroyed, resulting in a loss of up to 220 million yuan. On August 2nd, the opening of the Yongding River floodgates resulted in over 500 cows being submerged in Zhuozhou, Hebei. The owner of a cattle farm wept on the bank as numerous cows were washed away by the floodwaters, with only a few managing to reach the shore. On August 5th, heaps of smelly fish accumulated at a sturgeon farm in Zhuozhou, Hebei. The owner expressed heartache, stating that over 2 million kilograms of fish were lost, resulting in damages exceeding 30 million yuan. The human-made disaster caused by the CCP has left millions of people in distress, turning decades of accumulated wealth into nothing. However, people across various regions have risen to resist, stopping officials from disregarding human lives.
Brothers, the police are already suppressing the villagers. The villagers are trying to prevent the breach, but it must be breached, brothers. It will be breached immediately. The armed police and special forces are all in position.
Take them away! Move back! Take them all away! Go! Go quickly! Breach the embankment!
In the early morning of August 6th, in Baoding-Hebei, local government personnel attempted to secretly dig trenches on National Highway 112 without any authorization or documents for releasing floodwaters. They were stopped by residents after an all-night confrontation, protecting their homes.
We're about to face a disaster. If you breach the embankment, please let us know about compensation. What should we do if our family members go missing?
Don't let the water out. This trench can't be dig.
What about our food and shelter? Who gave the order to breach the embankment?
I'm coming over now to ask what demands you have.
Breaching the embankment without authorization is a serious crime. Answer our question first. This needs to be investigated.
I don't know who breached it either.
How was this embankment breached, then?
So, you're saying it was the personal action of these two drivers, right?
No, it's definitely a department, the one responsible for emergency relief.
If it wasn't the order from the city government or the town government, can we call it breaching the embankment without authorization?
This is our first meeting. I just wanted to ask about your situation.
Our village is now gone. If they breached the embankment without authorization.
It's not just one department.
What position do you hold?
I'm here for disaster relief. We're not adversaries.
We're not adversaries, so why did you bring these people from the Public Security Bureau with you? Tell them all to leave.
Experts say this rain, it's been pouring down, even into our homes. Can you speak while keeping your conscience towards your parents? This rain has even reached inside our houses, leaving us ordinary people homeless. Reporters from CCTV came and said, it's been raining in our area, but I don't even know what kind of rain it is. This rain seems to be selective. It's all been falling right on us.
The release of floodwaters by the CCP submerged multiple areas in Hebei province. However, CCP's Central Television falsely reported that the flooding was due to heavy rainfall, sparking public anger. On August 5th, large-scale protests erupted in Hebei. Protesters displayed banners reading "Give back our homes." The flooding was clearly caused by releasing floodwaters, yet they say it's due to heavy rainfall. They clashed violently with the police, and no government officials came forward to negotiate or discuss compensation for the affected villagers.
Did you see that?
These are the police officers who are supposed to serve people. Look how they're beating our people. Did you see that? They're beating us. And then they're using pepper spray. Do you see the eyes of this person? They're beating the farmers.
Give us back our homes. Give us back our homes.
In Dingxing County, Baoding City, Hebei, 4 reservoirs released water simultaneously, causing extensive damage to people's houses. On August 6th, conflicts erupted in front of the Dingxing County government building. Flood victims in the release area demanded compensation from the government, and some villagers were beaten by the police.
Get my mother back. Get my mother back.
Why aren't you allowing filming? What's happening? Why? When the water was high, when there was no electricity, why didn't you come then? Why are you showing up now? You only come after everything is done. Why didn't you come earlier? Why aren't you allowing filming?
On the early morning of August 6, 2023, the Deputy Director of a law enforcement bureau in Zhuozhou, Hebei, led over 30 construction waste trucks to Yongla Village and Lianqi Village at the west entrance of Huatian Road. They dumped garbage and animal carcasses from the urban area that had receded after the flood, facing resistance from local villagers. During the flood disaster, with no sign of government rescue or relief supplies, after the water receded, the government urgently sent dozens of unsterilized garbage trucks and animal carcasses to the disaster area, planting the potential dangers of bacteria and epidemic transmission in the disaster-stricken area.
Look at all these garbage trucks. If you want to dump garbage, first, show us the official government documents. Second, give the people an explanation. Find us a place to settle. When Lianqi Village was hit by the disaster, you didn't care. When we were waiting to be rescued during the disaster, we didn't see the urban management or any of you. Now Lianqi Village is flooded like this, and you're still bringing garbage here. Are you even human? Do you have any conscience? We're all human beings, so you should live, and we should die. You're bringing all the city's garbage here. You want the city to survive. You don't want us rural folks anymore. We, the ordinary people, shouldn't live. We should all die. If there's someone in the village who knows a reporter, contact them. We need reporters, media, and internet influencers to come to Lianer Village. This is a popular spot for social media. Everyone, come and see. Lianqi Village is suffering from a flood discharge, and they're still doing this, dumping dead cats and rotten dogs here. Lianqi Village has over 2,000 people. Are you going to let them live or not?
We shouldn't publicize this matter. Let me tell you. We're here to solve this issue, but we shouldn't put it online. I'm speaking on behalf of the Law Enforcement Bureau. I'm from the Law Enforcement Bureau, Deputy Director. My surname is Du. We can start disinfecting tomorrow. Disinfect immediately tomorrow.
What about today? Disinfecting tomorrow? Right now, we're not allowing dumping. Our village is filled with foul odors.
Your village smells, not this place, right? Has the water receded in your village?
There's still water in the village.
If there's water, we can clean it for you.
Even if you clean it for us, you can't dump here.
The situation is like this, because there's nowhere else to dump. This is a strict order from higher-ups. The road here is wide, so we can only dump here.
The recent flood catastrophe in the Beijing-Tianjin-Hebei region was primarily a result of human actions, with only a minor portion attributed to natural factors. The CCP disregarded the lives of its citizens to protect Beijing and the vanity project Xiong'an New Area. Throughout the process, the CCP failed to notify in advance, officials were absent during the flooding, and the government's rescue efforts were passive. After the floodwaters receded, officials rushed to the scene to showcase their actions while state media sang their praises. The enraged citizens' legitimate rights were suppressed by the CCP's iron-fisted approach. The CCP's actions against the tide of nature have provoked divine anger and human resentment. Traditional Chinese culture emphasizes the unity of heaven and humanity. Recently, various unusual phenomena have been observed across mainland China.
Has anyone here seen the red moon? We're in Taiping Town, Xiong'an, Hebei.
On August 1st, Zhuozhou in Hebei province experienced a blood moon. In traditional cultures, both Eastern and Western, a blood moon is considered an ominous sign symbolizing disasters such as earthquakes, floods, wars, and even dynastic changes. On August 6th, a large number of caterpillars appeared on the ground in a certain location in Hebei. The caterpillars formed circles and moved counterclockwise. Netizens captured images of deep holes appearing in Hebei's ground, with water columns reaching heights of 4 to 5 meters. In the northern regions of China, geese should be migrating south during late autumn. However, in recent days, people in the north have noticed flocks of geese departing.
Oh my goodness, look at this. Swarms of swallows flying everywhere. Does it have anything to do with the earthquake we just had? Zhuozhou, Shandong, August 6th, 2:39 a.m. Look, they're flying all over. These clouds look a bit like earthquake clouds, so I just took a picture of them casually. I even said to my colleague, "Is this an earthquake cloud? Should we be prepared for an earthquake?" And my colleague said, "Shut your stinking mouth." As a result, there was an earthquake in our area later that night.
Even amidst disaster, some miraculous phenomena have emerged. While the floodwaters in Beijing's Fangshan district destroyed many structures, a standing Longwang temple remained untouched, with its walls even intact. The CCP advocates the philosophy of struggle, promotes atheism, enforces tyranny, and harms the Chinese people, ultimately inviting divine punishment. The Chinese people must recognize the true nature of the CCP and distance themselves from it in order to find refuge and safety.